Hello, and welcome to the Binge Effect. Today we're doing something a bit different. We're doing a tier list for the Celebrity Traitors, the season that's just gone. But first things first, I do want to apologize. I did have a couple videos planned to come out, but I was editing and then I was so far behind and it just wasn't banging, so I scrapped it. But hopefully I can make up for it for this one. So without further ado, let's get into it. So our tiers we've got today are Gone Too Soon. That's for people who were either banished or murdered a bit early and we didn't really get to see too much of them. Pretty self-explanatory. Then we've got Poor Performance. This is the tier for people just lackluster performance, you know what I mean? They didn't have their thinking caps on. They weren't thinking, they weren't concentrating. Next we've got Oxygen Stealer. It's Oxygen Stealer, kind of meh. It just means like, you know what I mean? They just were there to steal oxygen, man. They didn't do anything. They didn't contribute. They didn't help. I don't remember too much of them. That's what Oxygen Stealer category is for. Next, we've got Played Well. You know what I mean? Again, self-explanatory. They played a good game. They maybe threw out theories. They didn't always have to be right, but they were at least trying something. You know what I mean? They were at least doing something. And then we've got the last category, Winner Material. That's for the winner of the season, of course, and anyone else who did a good job, like who was screwed on and potentially could have won in another season or had things been slightly different, let's say things out of their control. Now, before I start, I do want to preface this tier list by saying that outside of the game, these are all highly talented and accomplished individuals. However, I will be basing this list purely on their gameplay, so no bias. Now, first up, we've got Claire, yeah? She couldn't read in the first mission, costing Charlotte her shield, but she brought it back by coming for Jonathan, especially after Ruth's murder. It's not her fault they ignored her, but you can only lead a horse to water. Now, maybe if the water was for themselves and not for charity, they would have locked in. I think I'm going to give her Played Well. Definitely the bottom of Played Well. Nowhere near winner material. You got to learn to read before that tier. Next up, we've got Lucy.
Who?
Oxygen Stealer. I'll be so real, I don't remember a single contribution she made. Completely, to be quite honest, forgot who she was. I was like looking at this picture, like, who's this? But you know what I mean? Yeah, Oxygen Stealer, man. She didn't do nothing. Paloma, gone too soon, man. Gone way too soon. Didn't get to see anything of her, unfortunately. Nothing to say. Nichols, another gone too soon, but this one actually wounded me. I'm still not over it. I grew up watching him and still do. The Faithfuls missed out big time because he would have been a huge help. My man's a menace, you know what I mean? He can think into the mind of the traitors and help them. But, you know what I mean? He wasn't old enough and posh enough for them, man. Next, we have Celia. And now, if we're talking personality-wise, she's a winner for me, you know what I mean?
In history.
But gameplay, unfortunately, is gonna have to be Oxygen Stealer. She did better than Lucy though. But yeah, she's Oxygen Stealer. Now, did she have a good theory about the traitors not wanting to talk to one another? Yes. But when she wasn't snooping, she was constantly complimenting the traitors. Like, it just wasn't enough gameplay for me, if I'm honest. She did defend Steven, but I also remember her defending Jonathan as well at some points. She wasn't pivotal enough in the game for the next tier, unfortunately. But she was definitely the best and most darling Oxygen Stealer on this season. Now we have Stephen Fry. Yeah. I'm not over him leading the charge for banishing Nicole. However, personal feelings aside, he definitely played well. Played better than Claire. He played well. He came up with the best out-of-the-box theories, such as Kat being bare sleepy because she's out murdering at night. He also spoke very well at the round table and overall played a good game. Not quite winner material, since he only properly accused Nicole and was wrong. And then once the big dog theory was out, his days were numbered. Still, overall, played very well, in my opinion. Now we have Nick Mohammed. Literally, until the finale, you would have been winner material, honestly. He was the only one to understand the true aim of the game, not to call out the traitors and banish them, but befriend them so they take you to the end, and then you gun for them. Nick was so close, made it to the end, voted cut out, and then turned on Joe. Mate, are you taking a fucking piss? The worst part is, that's not even what killed his game. As you know, you can never fully trust anyone in the game, so like, putting all your trust in Joe is not smart either, so fine, take him out. But then to take out the one person who's been with you throughout, and then choose to end the game with Alan, who was still there and still had sus on him, you can never see winning material. Never. Because the win was in your hands and you handed it to Alan, and for that, you get well played. I think I don't know whether or not to put you above or below Steven. I think you did a better job overall, but I don't think Steven makes that mistake. Oh, I don't know. I don't know Steven like that. But nah, it's a great mistake, man. You should, like, I just don't see how you can end the game with Alan there. No. You're getting in the middle. You did better than Claire, but that blunder was not, that was a big blunder. It was 2-in-1. You got out Joe and then you kept Alan. No smart person does that, in my opinion. No winner of mine does that. How about that? Okay. Next up, we have Kat Burns. She played a very good traitor game, making it all the way to the final, but I will say I don't think she makes it that far in other seasons. To me, she played similarly to Alyssa, and we saw that she played very well until she didn't. People clocked, wait, if I was a traitor, this is exactly how I'd play. You know what I mean? Quiet, never giving too much, you know what I mean? And then they got her out. But I think this one, it did work for this, so I will give her flowers. Yeah, like I said, I don't think she makes it this far in other seasons, and she heavily relied on the naivety of the faithfuls. However, she did lean into it and do a good job of defending herself a few times. The few times her name was brought up. I don't think I can give her winning material because she kind of had the one move, which was to play dumb. And once that card had been played out, she was up against people who actually had suspicion on her, and she was banished. Still, a very good performance, and she didn't throw like Nick, so I'm giving her well played. Above Steven, she made it further than Steven. She played better than Steven, yeah. Top of well played. Now we have Joe Marler. I think he's got to be our first on winning material of the list. Definitely. He was one of the only people not to fall for Jonathan's double, triple bluff, yeah, and kept sus on him the whole game, even when the other faithfuls ignored him for days. I'd say his only falter was diverting his attention from Jonathan and then to Mark randomly, and then being wrong. But after that blunder, he was back on track till the end, and he only got robbed of the victory because Nick lost composure and snaked him. Any other season, I feel like he wins, or if he played the same way, you know what I mean? Like, I think he did a good job, man. I think he did a good job. Yeah, definitely winning material. And look at that, we have 2 winning materials in one. Now, he did actually win, so he's coming above you, Joe. But we have Alan Carr next. I can tell you now, looking at this cast, definitely our last winning material. Oh, I forgot. Everyone give a round of applause for the sole winner of the Celebrity Traitors, yeah? Not only did Alan carry the season, but in my opinion, he played an almost flawless game. When he was first chosen to be traitor, I thought he'd do okay by going under the radar, being a bit goofy, but not make it that far, you know what I mean? I thought after a while his mask would slip and he'd fumble. But he proved me and pretty much everyone else wrong. I mean, when you're all being serious, taking turns to say you're faithful just before the final, and this guy can't even say it with a straight face.
Alan.
I am a faithful.
And still won. What more could you want from a winner? As it stands, Alan, along with Harry from season 2, are the only traitors to win the UK edition, so hats off, and here's his flowers. Now we have Charlotte Church. I mean, she sang well. But other than that, I don't remember too much about her. Yeah, she's joining the rest of the Oxygen Stealers. A bit better than Lucy, because she did do well in that one challenge. But yeah, nah, she was just there to take up space and steal oxygen. Now we have Joe W. Again, if it was personality-wise, he's a winner in my eyes. He had very good crack, he was very funny. But in terms of the game, he didn't really do much. I feel like we barely heard from him until a couple episodes before his murder. And then when he did talk, he was mainly accusing David, a faithful. Therefore, he has to go into Oxygen Stealer. I think slightly better than Charlotte because he was more vocal about certain things, you know what I mean? And like, I think like he was Personally, I feel like he was thinking through things a bit more. You know what I mean? He and Joe Marler had a very good connection. Joe was on Jonathan, he was on David, and a bit more Steven. You know what I mean? But yeah, he was there to steal oxygen. I can't lie. Jonathan Ross. Now, this is one of the tougher ones. I'll be real, because by no means did he play an outstanding game. He immediately got sussed out by Ruth and Claire for denying any talks of an alliance on day one. Now, I do honestly think he said it as like a throwaway comment and forgot about it, but his adamant denial only increased their suspicions. Not to worry though, as soon as they spoke up, Ruth was immediately murdered, and then he spearheaded the campaign for Claire with very few eyes on him. In other seasons, this sloppy gameplay would have gotten him banished much earlier, but with these airheaded faithfuls, his madness was able to take him all the way to episode 7, and for that, I have to say he played well. There's no other way around it. Definitely not better than the others. Ooh, better than Claire. Ooh, actually, no, Claire had him. Claire had him. And actually, yeah, Claire had him. He blatantly went for her, and he still survived. So yeah, I think he played better than Claire. He played better than Claire. Tom Daly. Gone too soon, gone too soon. This order doesn't matter. Don't read into the order of gone too soon. Ooh, one thing I will say though. Maybe if they chilled out with the side eye and an observation, she could have made it further, but nevertheless, she didn't get enough time to shine, I will say. Now we have Kate. Respectfully, she was fucking useless. But at least she knew it, and she didn't let it get her down. I do understand that in her field of work as a broadcaster and journalist, she has to be impartial and stick to the facts. Basically, the opposite of what the Traitors is, being speculation and theories. However, she just couldn't adapt and displayed a poor performance overall, man. Yeah, she's going in poor performance. Oh, it's our first one in poor as well. Oh, mad. Yeah, unfortunately, no. Next is Mark. Not got much to say. Wrongfully accused Tamika, then got himself banished for being so OTT. He did do alright defending himself at the round tables, but it wasn't enough. It's going to have to be another poor performance, in my opinion. He actively got out Tamika and he was wrong. I think I have to give him below Kate. I do think so. Because, yeah, I mean, Kate knew her flaws. Plus, she made it further than you as well. Tamika, poor showing. Poor showing. And it pains me to say, going for Mark, basically just because he mentioned your name, is not a good strategy at all. I feel like she was out of her depths with this one, unfortunately. Poor performance. David. I genuinely think he takes the crown as the worst faithful of this season. I'll be so real. Potentially other seasons as well. I'm going to double check, but I'm almost certain he never once voted down the traitor's name at the round table. The only vote he was on the right side of was the final round table, and I'm not counting it because it was either himself or Kat. Now, if he voted himself, I would happily say he is the worst faithful of every season, but he didn't. I'm certain every single vote was wrong until that last Kat vote. Nah, there's no good, man. He did make it further than others on the tier, but I'm going to argue that it was pure chance he made it as far as he did, since it was a 50-50 chance that he went home instead of Mark. So I'm not even going to give him them flowers. It easily could have been him. It was just a 50-50. So it's not even like, oh, he got himself far into the game. I also refuse to entertain the idea that he intentionally played dumb to make it further, since he also decided to end the game with Alan, proving he didn't have a single clue what was going on. For that, worst performance ever. Sorry, horror. Now, last but not least, we have Ruth. This one's actually quite difficult, as I don't think she fits any of these 3 tiers. Not easily. She just escapes gone too soon. No. And I don't know which one of these she goes in. She went guns blazing at Jonathan after Nico's banishment. Now, I don't think her initial suspicion of Jonathan was fair, since the car alliance was pretty tongue-in-cheek, you know what I mean? It was a throwaway statement. However, Jonathan's blatant denial of what he said made her so certain, which I do think is fair, you know what I mean? There's one thing to say it, and now you're denying it and you're saying I'm lying. You know what I mean? She was fair to go for him for that. Strategy-wise, do I think it was the best move to be so vocal, so loud? No, it got you killed expeditiously. However, she was one of, if not the first person to put suspicion on a traitor this season. So you've escaped these allegations. You go oxygen stealer. Where am I gonna put her in oxygen stealer? Yeah, Lucy's the bigger oxygen stealer. And so Charlotte. You go here, right in the middle of oxygen stealers. Not an oxygen stealer in the sense of wasting space, you know what I mean, not contributing much, but more so that maybe if you hadn't used so much of that oxygen to accuse Jonathan so hard, you could have made it further. Do you get me? Now the list is complete. That's my celebrity traitors tier list. Again, it's purely based on their gameplay and it's just my opinion. So let me know if you agree. Or if you don't agree, let me know what you would change in the comments down below. If you like the video, give it a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in a bit.